Oh no, we recessed, so meeting is in.
Yeah, I just call the meeting back to order, Your Honor, and pick up with the motion by minute action to excuse any absent council members whom we don't have any now.
And we've already approved Councilman Johnson being present? Okay.
He can participate by phone, and you do need to confirm he is on the line.
Okay, are you still there, Sean?
Yes, I am.
Okay, sorry for the delay.
Sorry.
Okay, so, moving on to our agenda. Council will now discuss the minute action for the canvassing of the vote from the special election and to proclaim and certify the election results from the election held on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2015, on the referendum proposition on ordinance number 15-13. Because this is not on the consent agenda, it will be open for discussion by council. The chair would entertain a motion to proclaim and certify the special election results by minute action.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Councilman Liddell, seconded by Vice Mayor Sandoval. Mr. City Attorney.
Your Honor, may it please the council, Renee Vito, the Natrona County Clerk, has reported to the Casper City Clerk the results of the special election on City Ordinance number 15-13, that being the ordinance amending certain sections of Chapter 8.16 of the Casper Municipal Code, which pertain to smoking in public places. The election judges have reported the vote in this election as follows. For the referendum ballot proposition was 2,894 votes. Against the referendum ballot proposition was 3,368 votes. As a result, ordinance number 15-13 has failed and will not be effective as a Casper Municipal Code ordinance. However, it is now necessary for council, under the statutes of the state of Wyoming, in this matter by minute action, to proclaim the results of this election. In this regard, proclamation and certification of the election results has been prepared for council's approval and the signature and certification by the mayor.
Discussion. Councilman Cathy.
The one thing that I would like to say, and has nothing to do with win or lose, but that out of a town of 60,000 people, when in excess of 22,000 registered voters, and we had only 6,200 people feel that they would willing to come to the polls to decide an issue, that disappoints me extremely.
Councilman Hopkins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I certainly will vote to canvass the vote as reported. I'm still a little disappointed that we had a reasonable compromise. It affected about 5 bars in town, and it still affected a lot of people in nursing homes and other places where, matter of fact, I was told today by some folks that live in one of those places that they could watch outside the window and they could see this little 90-year-old lady being wheeled outside, so she had to smoke her cigarette outside. Under the law, as we will canvass and say yes tonight, that will be required. It's not possible to build an enclosure for smoking under the law as we passed it. So that disappoints me. We had a reasonable compromise and we lost, and that's the way it'll be.
Councilman Liddell.
I really feel bad for the businesses who are directly affected by this, because they really truly are losing their business. And I understand the passions on both sides. I concur with Councilman Hopkins about the issues, especially knowing that the older folks who live in a nursing home, that is their home. That is where they live. And we don't legislate to anybody that they can't smoke in their own house, but we have indeed made them say that they can't smoke in their own home. I'm just thoroughly disappointed, as Councilman Cathy pointed out, that we have a small number of people who have affected the business of a small number of businesses. It was a good compromise. Sorry, I'm upset. I will vote, obviously, to certify, but I'm disappointed.
Mr. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Your Honor. I was quite frankly disgusted by the lack of civility in these discussions. The standard bearer of this crusade actually told a fellow citizen to fornicate himself under consent of the king right here in City Hall repeatedly, loudly. I find this a little astonishing because the argument is compassion. Public health is a compassion argument, and yet that person was demonstrating a seething contempt for her fellow man. I was disappointed in the voters, in the fact that they chose to limit freedom for fear of an abstract nature, and they traded in a little bit of security for that. Fear. That being said, I would also like to point out that this was a valid election. The ballot language was very clear after some very hard work by City Attorney Lubin and then Assistant City Manager D.H. McDonald. I know that pacing in front of the county clerk's office last night, I learned that this special election was a strain on the system. They barely had enough judges for this election, and that the people who were judges for this election, they sat there for 12 hours straight without a potty break. And if they got up to go pee, they came back and they were getting the stink eye from the people who were waiting in line. But thousands of people turned out, and the vote is decisive. Thousands of people waited in line for hours, and I am going to defer to the people and accept this vote, and I have no intention of repealing the overall ban. I think the people have spoken on this. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Your Honor.
Yes, Councilman Johnson, would you like to speak?
Yes. I pretty much echo the sentiment of everybody that just spoke before me. I'm disappointed in the outcome. I have been approached by people asking if I would be in support of moving forward with a repeal of the ban, and I'm not, because I respect the democratic process as much as I do disagree with it. So I will vote to certify. But, to me, smoking bans and things like this are just a slippery slope, and we've seen it in other municipalities that have had bans where the next crusade is launched against something else, like soda or the food that people eat, and they start limiting those things. And eventually they just keep chipping away. And so that was one of my biggest concerns about this ban, was the eventual chipping away of individual freedoms and individual responsibility and giving it to the government. And that's pretty much all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Any amendments? Please cast your vote.
Aye.
And please record the vote. Did you hear Councilman Johnson's
Yes, thank you. With all members voting aye, motion passes.